I'm Christine King. I'm the Churchwarden at St Andrew's Church, and I was also project lead for not only the repair works, but the community volunteer projects. A bit about what we've done, why we did it, how we did it, and who did it. Over the past 10 years, work has taken place to try and make the church roofs watertight. Back in 2010, lead was stolen from the south aisle and porch roofs, but because of other repairs taking priority, these remained felted until they eventually made their way to the top of the list of jobs to do. Most of the funds for all the roof repairs have been from grant funding, and this time was no different. Historic England, who used to be the main grant funder for projects of this size at churches, generally no longer provide funding for churches, and as such, the main funding now lies with the Heritage Lottery Fund. The process began back in August 2018 with our initial approach to the National Lottery. One of their development officers came to the church to discuss not only the repairs, but the community volunteer aspects as well. As National Lottery funds are from players of the lottery, therefore public monies, they ask that there is an element of funding assigned to heritage projects for the church, and ask that a group of volunteers are included in the full grant application. We were fortunate to eventually receive volunteer support from a few people, and without their willingness to join us on this journey, the application would not have been able to proceed. So a big thank you to them. Alan and Christina Holmes, Sue Clark, Colin and Marion Gray, Bruce Truin, Nick King, and of course myself. Our architect, Eleanor McCavity, was extremely helpful in our initial application with all the technical details, but due to the volunteer heritage projects, this application was a lot more involved than usual. I would like to say thank you to Eleanor, but also a big thank you to Fran Bell from the DAC at Lincoln Diocese. The DAC is the Diocesan Advisory Committee, part of the church buildings team, who assist churches in their quest to repair and conserve their buildings. Fran is the church development officer within the DAC and was instrumental in helping us to complete our ultimately successful application to the National Lottery Heritage Fund. We also had to approach other grant funders as we had an £11,000 funding shortfall. Thanks to the support of 3 grant funders who, although don't fund the tens or hundreds of thousands of pound projects of the lottery, they do fund the smaller amounts to enable projects like ours to go ahead. Without 100% of funding available to us, we could not receive the £153,000 from the National Lottery. So thank you to the Lincolnshire Churches Trust, All Churches Trust, and the Garfield Weston Foundation for their financial support. Work finally commenced at the beginning of March 2020 and stopped a few weeks later when the first lockdown kicked in. Once the government decided which businesses could restart, thankfully building projects being one of those, it was all systems go again in May. The building work went smoothly, and due to the timbers being in better condition than first feared, we were able, with National Lottery permission, to do extra work, including repairs to 3 of the stained glass windows in the clerestory, repairs to the pinnacle and cross on the porch, internal painting to the porch and south aisle, and also a notice board in the porch. The lottery not only provided funds for the roof repairs, but all of the volunteer projects, including training costs. Part of our application included making the church more accessible, a more visible presence within the village. The notice board at the bottom of the driveway and the blue pedestrian roadside signage lets people know we're here. The lamppost at the top of the driveway hasn't been lit in the time we've been in Halton, 10 years and counting, and I suspect many years prior to that. We were able to fund the installation of new underground armoured cabling to the lamp, and it now shines brightly, all funded by the National Lottery. The community project volunteers. Although the COVID restrictions, which came into effect quite early in the project, restricted what we could do as a team, training, meeting together, progress reports, comparing notes, etc., their involvement has been invaluable. We've had to resort to emails and phone calls, but we got there in the end. A Apart from their contributions to the project, their initial willingness to be part of it meant that the repair projects were able to go ahead. What have we as volunteers achieved? The names on the war memorial have been researched. We have details of their lives, their families. They're now not just names on a board. Not only those who died in the wars, but we've also included a separate board for those who served and returned, often forgotten when we remember those from the parish who sacrificed so much. 2 timeline displays, one for the names on the rector's board and the larger one relating to the church, the village and the school. There's a lot to read and take in, but plenty of opportunity to come back and visit. The banner with the old photographs. We came across so many pictures from various sources that it was impossible to include them in the printed material, so they've been put on display separately. The village book. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the village book. I was going to say scrapbook, but it's so much more than that, which Colin and Marion have been custodians of over the years. Age has taken its toll, as it does, and in order to preserve it before it becomes beyond repair, it will, in the not-too-distant future, be taking a one-way trip to the archives. Colin and Marion's project was to painstakingly photograph each and every page, 233, through much trial and error, to achieve the best outcome, and with assistance from Angela Montague of Push Creativity, experts in all things digital, they produced the digital version of the book, which is available via the New Church website. We appreciate that not everyone is happy using computers, and even if they are, much prefer something they can actually hold and turn the pages of. So the pages have all been reprinted and are now in 2 folders, which, as with the original book, are also available for people to borrow. A lot of the research that's been done was used to produce 3 new booklets. A children's guide to the church, which pupils from Halton Holegate Church of England Primary School helped with, a new church guidebook, and a village booklet, Halton Holegate Past and Present, which has been very popular already. Thank you to the people of the parish who passed on photographs, information, confirmed or otherwise dates and details, anecdotes, etc. But it's not too late if anyone else has anything else to pass on. Thanks to the website, we can easily amend or add information, photographs, and if it's anything to do with the past and present booklet, when we do another print run, these can be added. We have the technology. The New Church website. This was designed for us by Angela from Push Creativity and has put us on the global stage. Viewings of the site have come from far-flung places such as Hong Kong, South Korea, Vietnam, Australia, the United States, and many more. The majority of everything we have produced has been put on the site, plus so much more. Angela and her partner Ashley visited the church on a couple of occasions and took some amazing photographs, which can only be appreciated via the site. These include some clever technology to view areas of the church in 360-degree vision, almost virtual reality. Look up, down, around, so people who can't actually come and set foot inside can enjoy a visit and maybe even be tempted to visit us in person. I know I keep referring back to the National Lottery funding, but without them, not only would we not have been able to do yet more work to make the building watertight, and we are almost there, but so much more, to show that the church is living, it is part of the community, it is interested in community, and has been willing to give of its time to make a visitor experience, both for locals and from far and wide feel welcome. So to conclude, a few more thank yous. Jeremy Thackeray, our lottery grant fund manager, a very patient man who was always there, either on the phone or email, to answer my questions, especially about payment claims, always an important aspect. No matter what people might think, grant funders are there to help, not to make things difficult. They want the projects they fund to be successful as much as we do. Eleanor McCavity, our architect. Eleanor has worked with us on our repair projects over the past 8 years and has always gone over and above what might be expected. Their support, patience, and commitment to our building has been such a godsend. So thank you, Eleanor. We've not quite finished yet. Paul Mendham Stonemasons, our main contractor, as always, has done a brilliant job for us. Thank you. Lisa Davenport, our evaluation consultant, who produced a final report to submit to the National Lottery. Lisa helped us along our way, keeping us on track, especially with all our volunteer projects, making sure we met all our promised outcomes, which we did. Again, COVID meant we only had one face-to-face meeting with Lisa, but phone calls and emails kept us on the straight and narrow. So to conclude, another thank you to our merry band of volunteers, Chris, Alan, Colin, Marion, Sue, Bruce and Nick.